Dennis, why don't we get started?
Good afternoon. I'm Dennis Galucki. Welcome to the 462nd Imagine Greater Buffalo program and 84th virtual Imagine lecture hosted by our wonderful Buffalo and Erie County Public Library. Thanks so much for joining us today. This program is created by the Center for the Study of Art, Architecture, History, and Nature, and ImagineLifelongLearning.com. Now we're going to start with our speakers shortly, but first a little housekeeping. Everyone watching will be muted during our speakers presentation. So if you have a question, please type it into the chat box and we'll get to as many as we can. This program is being recorded, so you'll be able to watch it again later on the Downtown Central Library's Facebook page and YouTube channel. And we hope you share the link with your networks. Since the tragic events of the past weekend are being noted today by President Joe Biden here in Buffalo as we speak, and as we record this program for our live audience, as well as for archival purposes, it is most important and appropriate to invite a moment of silence at this time, 13 moments and seconds to mark each of the 10 people who died and 3 who were injured. Words cannot express our sorrow for them, their families and friends, our city and region, and our country, the United States of America. Now on to our featured speakers, Carr Lincoln and Jim Charlier. Catherine is a nonprofit fundraising professional with over 20 years of experience in the field. She joined the Board of Gardens, Buffalo Niagara in 2017 as their development committee chair and oversees both the sponsorships for GBN as well as individual giving. She also serves on the East Side Garden Walk Committee and is committed to promoting racial equity through garden sharing. In addition to her work on GBN, the Gardens Buffalo Niagara, that stands for, she is a consultant for West Side Economic Development Incorporated and manages the social media for Trinity Episcopal Church, where her husband, Matt, is rector. Catherine and Matt Lincoln live in Allentown and love being on Open Gardens and Garden Walk Buffalo. Jim Charlier, a self-employed graphic designer, is a past president of Garden Walk Buffalo and a garden blogger on artofgardening.org. He also serves as a board member of Gardens Buffalo, Buffalo Niagara, the organization that produces and promotes garden tourism experiences. He is also a board member of the Buffalo and Erie County Botanical Gardens and past board vice president of Frank Lloyd Wright's Graycliff. His photography has been published in dozens of garden magazines and books. His own book, Buffalo Style Gardens, is co-authored with Buffalo News garden columnist Sally Cunningham. So now I'm pleased to welcome Carr Lincoln and Jim Charlier to discuss Garden Walk Buffalo for this year, 2022. Jim, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dennis, and thank you for taking time out of watching the President of the United States while we're talking. Your time is appreciated. We've got a little bit of a slideshow. I'm going to share my screen right now, and I'm going to just talk about, so as I figure out how to do that, talk about a few little things first before we get too much into it. The talk for today is supposed to be on Garden Walk Buffalo. It's actually going to be, that's just one part of what our group does. It's probably the largest, most well-known event we do, but we do many other garden tourism events. And we want to talk about all of them because Buffalo has gone just beyond Garden Walk Buffalo to become this larger garden tourism entity. And it all started with our heroes, Marvin Lunenfeld and Catherine, help me with? Gail McCarthy.
Sorry.
They started Garden Walk Buffalo in 1995, and they went to a garden tour in Chicago, enjoyed it so much. They thought, what a great way to show off a neighborhood. So they came back to their block club in downtown Buffalo, the Elmwood district on Norwood Avenue, and they started a garden tour. In 1995, there were 29 gardens. Now, this group has grown so much that if you include Garden Walk Buffalo and the other garden tours that we operate and promote and all the other things, it's about 1,000 gardens on view every summer, as well as attracting probably our guesstimation is around 100,000 people to the city. So all this started with their encouragement, enthusiasm, and planning. And like I said, Gardens Buffalo Niagara is not just Garden Walk Buffalo anymore. It is the East Side Garden Walk, which is in its 5th or 6th year, Catherine? 6th?
Depends on whether or not you count our year when we all had to take off because of COVID.
We still did videos that summer, so we counted.
So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. This is its 5th year.
Yeah. And then Urban Farm Day. This will be its 2nd year. We do this late in the year when the season hits. Where you can do shopping and stuff. The Garden Art Sale, I believe we're in our 11th year on the Garden Art Sale. And we do a program called Open Gardens, we'll talk about a little bit more. And that is, I think, in its 11th or 12th year. We also have grants we've been giving out since 2005. We also promote all the local garden tours from Niagara County down to Springville. And then again, Garden Walk Buffalo, which is our sort of a flagship event. But first, we're going to talk about the East Side Garden Walk, and I'm going to let Catherine do that since she's on that committee.
Welcome, everyone. I am very glad to be here and wanted to just make sure, particularly in light of current events, that everyone is thinking about that a way to show up for supporting folks who have been primarily affected by the shooting over the weekend is to show up and attend the East Side Garden Walk. If you go to our webpage, and I know that it'll be put in the chat for the East Side Garden Walk, I want to read something that was written when we first launched the East Side Garden Walk, and it's just so appropriate today. More than a garden tour, the East Side Garden Walk is a way for residents to take control of the narrative for its community. And those residents include people like me, Allentown, privileged, and white. That's my little addendum. More than a garden tour, the East Side Garden Walk is a way for residents to take control of the narrative for its community. The residents of the East Side will share their gardens, stories, and a spirit of perseverance with those from within and outside its neighborhood, countering the negative stigma often portrayed on the news by creating positive stories. Love of gardening and community creates connections between gardeners, neighbors, and visitors. And I would also like to add, love of gardening is what makes me feel so passionate about the East Side Garden Walk and supporting those gardeners and garden sharing and the leadership of that committee in promoting this event. And the East Side Garden Walk transforms its neighborhood by providing a spotlight for residents to show out and by encouraging everyone to be the change because this community matters. This year, particularly, and I felt this way all along, but more than ever, I want the East Side Garden Walk to be a bridge to build racial connection in this city and healing in this city, and be an example and a beacon throughout the country and the world. So that's my plug for the East Side Garden Walk. I visited it every year we've had it. It's amazing. They're fabulous people over there and a great way And I'm just so proud to be on that committee and a part of the organization that does that, as well as being on Garden Walk Buffalo and Open Gardens. So Jim, did I forget anything?
Well, I would just add that it is the weekend. I had that up July 23rd and 24th from 10 to 4. And new this year, it is both days, Saturday and Sunday. It previously had been one day. And also new is there's going to be a headquarters where you can go and pick up maps, which will be in MLK Park. We'll have more information on where exactly in the park will be. But maps will also be available at all the downtown public libraries, all the public libraries. So people can just go to their local library, pick that up. That would be appreciated. They'll also be able to go to eastsidegardenwalk.com and download a map as well. Then the next event is Urban Farm Day I'd like to talk about. This takes place on Saturday, August 27th. And this is actually one of our, through Gardens Buffalo Niagara, one of our aspects that we want to hit on is education. And many people probably don't know, but there are many, many, many urban farms on the east side and west side of Buffalo. But primarily that's where they are. There's a few others. And we have about 18 of them that are open for that Saturday. It's all free, as the Eastside Garden Walk is all free. This tour is all free, and it is, I believe it's from 10 till 3 on that Saturday. And you'll be able to get to see great production gardens. The last one was the Westside Tilth Farm. This one is Feedmore's Garden. This is Cubed Root, where they do a lot of microgreens. Many of the gardens that you'll see, the community garden, they're not community gardens where people go and garden. These are mostly production gardens where the items are for sale. And a lot of them are worked by immigrants. And during the event, there will be items for sale. So you can do your shopping, get out on a beautiful August day, meet some neighbors on the west side and east side. And new this year is going to be on this list is a Big Table, which is a pay if you can restaurant over on the west side. And there is a community garden just across the street where they get a lot of their produce. So that's a great event. And you can find out more about that at urbanfarmday.com. And then we also have a garden art sale, which I'm on the committee for that. And that is held Saturday and Sunday, June 25th and 26th at the Buffalo Botanical Gardens. And this year we've got just under 60 vendors. I think we have like 58 vendors, our best ever. We get around 5,000 people showing up for this. It's usually a very hot day. And it's a great place to be able to purchase anything you'd want to display in your garden. There is everything from wind sculptures, kinetic sculptures, to pots. We sell everything but plants. The only thing we don't sell is plants. There will be food trucks. There will be a band playing, and there will be a row of green groups, plant societies, things like that. And we look forward to this every year. And the Botanical Gardens has been a great host for this event for us. Yes, Catherine, would you like to say something?
I was just going to add to that, it's also an opportunity to, since it's later in June, to pick up both maps for the Eastside Garden Walk and Garden Walk Buffalo. Those will be available by then. This will be the first public event where people can pick up maps for those events, right? Am I right about that? Yeah, so great way to support the organization, support local craftspeople, and also get the maps for the 2 events. And also we'll have a flyer about Urban Farm Day too. So Eastside Garden Walk Buffalo, and Urban Farm Day will also be available there.
Yep. And then another event we do, which is a big one, and I'm on the committee for this too, is Open Gardens on Thursdays and Fridays in July. This is one of the few paid events that we actually, it's the only paid event I think we do. To do this tour, you'd have to have an Open Gardens booklet that tells you where the gardens are and what hours they're open on Thursdays and Fridays. But again, this is regional. This is everywhere from Niagara County all the way down to Eden and farther. Yes, Catherine, would you like to say something?
And I was going to say, in previous years, and we're hoping to be able to do this again this year, if you don't want to buy a booklet, you can download an app.
We do have an app, yes.
We do have an app for that. It's like $5, I think, or $6.
Yeah.
Booklets are available at garden centers around the area or on our website on the shop section of the Gardens Buffalo Niagara website. $25, you can have a booklet you can stick in your glove compartment and just have it with you through the month of July. But if you don't want to do that, we'll be promoting, once we get it set, promoting the app that you can get for like under $10. So
Yeah. And the tour book at garden centers is only $10. And this is, again, it's Thursdays and Fridays, so you can keep going back. You can visit a garden at least 5 times throughout the entire month of July. It's a great thing to do with girlfriends. It's proven to be a great way. We came up with this concept originally to extend stays for weekends. It was nice to add Thursday and Friday onto Garden Walk Buffalo, but now that there's garden tours every weekend, this is a great way to keep visitors in town. This is a great garden out in Lancaster, actually. This is a garden in Hamburg. And this is one in West Seneca and Gasport. So they're all over the region. Another thing we're very, 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 very proud of is that we started the Lunenfeld Beautification Grants, obviously named after Marvin Lunenfeld, the founder of Garden Walk Buffalo. And since I think it's 2004, 2005, somewhere in there, we've given out more than $100,000 to block clubs and community groups for projects like community gardens, for medians that neighbors share in a street. These are all projects that have to be seen from the street. They have to be completed by the time of the East Side Garden Walk and Garden Walk Buffalo. And these grants go throughout the entire city. It used to be just the footprint of Garden Walk Buffalo, which was mostly the west side. Now it's the entire city. As long as you're in the city limits, you're eligible to apply for it. So we've given grants out for all sorts of small projects and large projects. And the other part is that whatever community group wants to do this, they have to put in the sweat equity, and so they have to come up with matching funds and or the sweat equity to actually do the gardening. This was a project on White Lake it was adding irises to the Japanese garden. But it's for all sorts of projects. On my left would be that's actually a book nook. You see them all over town now. The book little libraries where you can. That was one designed by an architect. We helped fund that project. We've done on 16th Street signs that were former Garden Walk Buffalo posters. We do a lot of funding of beautification projects like barrels with flowers and small gardens that would go with a block club sign or something like that. But it's up to the neighbors to be creative. It's up to us to fund them. And they have to be applied. And we have a large committee that actually decides on those. And so we've started doing stuff throughout the entire city. Last year, there's a lot of stuff we did in Black Rock and the East Side. Sometimes we do larger projects too. This was actually Retrieve Buffalo's project, and we gave them a good chunk of money to help tear down the ash trees along Delaware Avenue and replant them as the ash trees were dying. Another early project we helped with was having the clothesline poles and the clothesline pole garden of the Martin House reconstructed. So that's when you go to the Martin House, that's a little project we did. Other projects that we didn't necessarily pay for, but were a major influence for our wall murals. This one was created from artwork, leaves actually, and blueprints made from plants people collected during Garden Walk. And this one on Elmwood Avenue is probably the most visible. This was done for our 25th anniversary, along with the 25th anniversary of the Elmwood Village Association.
In collaboration with the Elmwood Village Association.
Yeah. So. And then we do, I'm gonna go through these really quick because there's a lot of them, but we don't put on these events, but we do promote all these events for the local garden tours. I think there's 16 this year, plus Eastside Garden Walk and Garden Walk Buffalo. But these are all summer long. I say that, but I think there's one in June and the rest are all in July. But there's Hamburg and Amherst and Town of Tonawanda and Northwest Buffalo, Cape and Kenmore. Some of these tours have evening tours as well. You can find all of this information on our calendar page at gardensbuffaloniagara.com. And then there's the big kahuna. Catherine's a newbie. She's only been on the tour. I've been involved with this tour. It's 28 years old now. I've been involved with it for 26 of those years and on it for most of those years. But I'll let Catherine say a little bit about Garden Walk, because as a sort of a newbie, only been on it like 5 or 6 years now, she has a different perspective than I would.
Okay. When I first moved to Buffalo in 2015, Jim and his wife Leslie handed us, my husband and me, in Allentown, a map of Garden Walk Buffalo and said, you need to come. And I understand you're a gardener too, and you need to apply. And I kept on saying, wait a minute, apply? Why do I apply? Then you're telling me that I could be on it too, and anybody could be on it. I didn't understand. And finally, it dawned on me shortly before joining the board that for many, many years, one word had been used incorrectly. It's not an application, it's a registration. It's free, it's always has been. When you apply to something, you're vetted. When you register for something, you're not. Jim had always said, oh, but anybody can be on Garden Walk Buffalo. And even if all you have is a pot of flowers on your apartment front steps on the west side, as long as you're in the footprint, you can be on Garden Walk Buffalo. And I'm like, but it's not an application, it's a registration. So we're really trying to use that word now and get it out of the community DNA that anybody can be on Garden Walk Buffalo. I know in 2018 and 19, I encouraged the proprietor who has the Pilates studio above Remedy House to register her hanging pots, her window boxes, because they were so beautiful, right across from Urban Roots, so that when people were going to Urban Roots to pick up one of our sponsors to pick up one of their last minute plants, or going to Remedy House on Garden Walk weekend, they would look up and see the window boxes outside and above Remedy House. So anybody can register for Garden Walk Buffalo if you're in the Garden Walk Buffalo footprint, just like anyone can register for Eastside Garden Walk if you're in the Eastside Garden Walk footprint. So that's a kind of a understanding that we're really trying to promote. And I absolutely love it. I love the community building that happens on my street in Allentown. Last year, I was able to convince 8 other neighbors to register for Garden Walk Buffalo, even if they were just registering their front yards because they happened to be out of town. They had a sign out front and it was like a street festival. People loved it. So we really try to work on both Garden Walk Buffalo and Eastside Garden Walk to really to encourage folks in neighborhoods to have clusters of gardens. And sometimes it works depending on your neighborhood, sometimes it doesn't, but that's our goal particularly for Garden Walk Buffalo and for Eastside Garden Walk. Jim, did I miss anything?
Well, I would just give out some specifics, and that would be that we have 2 main headquarters set up. This year, the main headquarters will be at the D'Youville University's hub on Connecticut Street. The secondary main headquarters, where you can buy merchandise, get maps, use restrooms, buy some water, do things like that, would be St. Mark's School over in Parkside. And then we have 3 satellite sites where you can just pick up maps. There will be less people to answer questions. I believe there will be restrooms at all those. We will not have shuttle buses this year. That's not going to happen. It's too close to COVID. And we had to stop that last year. I'd like to start again in the future. And the days, it's always the last full weekend of July. This year it's the 30th and 31st. And it is from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. Although if the sign is out past 4 p.m. or before 9 a.m., you're more than welcome to come into the gardens. And this year we have just over 300 gardens. This is the largest garden tour in the country, and both in size, number of gardeners and visitors. The garden walk in a normal year, pre-COVID, would usually bring in between 60 and 70,000 people, mostly from the region, but about 25% come from more than 50 miles away. Last year, we missed our Canadian friends because they couldn't get across the border, but this year they can. So we're hoping a lot of our Canadian friends will be back. And the event itself, this was about 10 years ago, brought in an estimated economic impact of $4.5 million for just the weekend. So we got that number from a garden tourism consultant. And so it's a big event. And I think it's one of Buffalo's best summer events. The last appeal I would do that I'm going to let Catherine do, actually, because she's a better salesperson than I am, is talk about volunteerism.
Volunteer opportunities are many throughout the gardening events that Jim and I have been talking about. And the first thing I would do is want to encourage everyone who's here and everyone who watches it later, not live, to go to our website and sign up for our e-news. We promise we don't inundate you, but we really try to make sure that you're aware of which weekend, which event is happening, and particularly what our volunteer needs are for that particular event. So we'll need volunteers for our first event of the summer, which is the garden art sale. We'll need volunteers for that, for loading in and out and helping the vendors and staffing the Gardens Buffalo Niagara booth to hand out maps for then the subs and flyers for our subsequent events. And then of course we will need folks for both the Eastside Garden Walk headquarters, Garden Walk Buffalo headquarters. Not sure we need folks for Urban Farm Day at this point because that's something that we're just building, but down the road we may. And also on our committees, there's a list of our committees on our website. We always need volunteers for those, as well as donations. Starting in 2019, we started not just saying in the springtime, hey, if you want your Garden Walk Buffalo map mailed early, donate to Gardens Buffalo Niagara and we'll get you on the map mailing list. Many people from across the country love having that so they can plan their weekend because you can't see all the gardens in one weekend. And it gives people an opportunity to go back to places to plan on where exactly they want to go. And this year that's pretty important because of not being able to have buses. But in addition to getting the Garden Walk Buffalo map mailed to you early in exchange for a donation, and even if it's just $5, you're still on the list. Any donation counts as low as $5. This year you'll also, and I think again, I'll just circle back to the very beginning, how we started, particularly in light of recent events, with the Eastside Garden Walk. You donate to Gardens Buffalo Niagara between now and the middle of June. You will also get, in addition to the Garden Walk Buffalo map mailed early, you'll also get an Eastside Garden Walk map mailed to your home early. So you can really take a look at that, and you might realize that there's folks on the east side that you haven't seen for a long time, or neighborhoods that you haven't been to, and you can go visit those people's gardens. So.
Wow. Does that wrap it up, Jim and Catherine? What a great summary. I remember in previous years, you've mentioned the term Buffalo Gardens as if there's a special style of Buffalo Gardens. And the reason if that's accurate, and I'll invite you to comment on it, it's because you guys have almost single-handedly probably converted the image of the people that think of snow and Buffalo into people that think of gardens and Buffalo. And you've done an incredible job over these, 28th one now? Is that
Yep.
the correct number from 95?
Yep.
So please comment, is there such a thing as a Buffalo garden style?
Well, Jim could speak to that, but so that he doesn't have to do all the promoting, on our website, you can order a copy of his book, called Buffalo Style Gardens. So Jim, take it away from there, a little bit more about what that's about.
Yeah, it was probably about 15 years ago, and it was actually a writer for the Atlantic magazine. It was actually on their website. He's the one that coined the term a Buffalo style garden. He came to Buffalo. I think he's originally from Buffalo, and he wrote a blog, and it was put on the Atlantic magazine's blog. And he said that along with Japanese style gardens and English style gardens, he really thought that there was a Buffalo style garden because what he saw was, and back then the garden Walk Buffalo was in primarily the Elmwood area and the Cottage District. And he noticed that a lot of the architecture was sort of incorporated into the gardens, and a lot of the gardens were very personal and included a lot of found art and just repurposed artwork, things that were not intended to be artwork that were in gardens, and that it was sort of a casual, loose style, but it was very personal to each gardener. And so he coined that term. And we picked up on it so much that we started using it year after year after year. And then when Sally and I went to write our book, it was our publisher actually from Pittsburgh who suggested we call it Buffalo Style Gardens. So it has become sort of a thing. And, I'm involved with national garden groups all over. And oftentimes I'll pick up someone saying, this garden in Austin is a Buffalo style garden. So the term is getting used, not just here, but throughout the country.
Well, that's perfect. Let's see if we have some questions, Melissa, from our viewing audience.
I do have a few questions. First, can you just confirm again, I believe you said it, that the maps will be available at libraries. Is that right?
The maps for the East Side Garden Walk will be available at the libraries sometime probably in early July. Maps for Garden Walk Buffalo will be available online, as will the East Side Garden Walk, but they'll also be available at our headquarters only on the days of the tour. But you can go to our sponsors, the ones that have retail locations, and they'll all have piles of maps that they'll be giving out for free. Garden Walk Buffalo also is free.
And Jim, do we have we also have at the garden art sale, both maps? We'll have piles of them right
Yes.
there. Yes. The end of.
As long as we meet all our deadlines, yes.
And is it too late for homeowners to register?
If they can, for both tours, if you can register between today and tomorrow, you can still be on. The deadline was this past Sunday, but the president of Garden Walk, or the chairperson of Garden Walk Buffalo and East Side, they haven't called me to take it off the website yet. So if you want to enter today, tomorrow at the very latest. Otherwise, we take it off the website, and we actually have to start producing our maps so we have them in time.
And how many people can one expect to go through their garden?
For Garden Walk Buffalo, if you are in a popular area, by that I mean my street, Lancaster Ave is pretty popular, or especially the most populous place is the little section, Little Summer Street at near Richmond. That's craziness down there. They expect they can get in the course of a weekend 10,000 or more people through their tiny gardens. Over here in Lancaster, I'll get probably 2,000 a day, so 4,000 over the weekend. This is in pre-COVID times. It changed a little bit, but some of the nicer gardens, I don't know, they're all beautiful. They're all great. Go visit them all. But some of the gardens that are a little bit further away from where there's a large collection of gardens, still worth seeing. We'll have, a few hundred. And Catherine might have to answer for the East Side Garden Walk. I'm not sure.
So the East Side Garden Walk, it really just depends on location and weather. They've had some weather day challenges the last couple of years. Last year it poured rain, and 2 years ago it was very, very hot. So that's why we're really glad to have the East Side Garden Walk go for 2 days. And I think some of those gardens had maybe, I don't know, because I'm not those gardeners, but 50, 100 people each day, depending on who they were. I'm thinking of maybe Renata's garden and some of the gardens up in Judges Row, definitely are, had a number of people coming through. So it really depends on weather and neighborhood and also cluster. Irving
Yeah.
Place has not necessarily had a lot of visitors before, but last year, because we had a lot of neighbors register, we had a lot of visitors. This year may not be the case because some of them are moving. So it shifts from year to year. You can't always say it's going to be the same from one year to the next.
Yeah, and open gardens, it's actually, it's not much nicer. It's a nice way to see the gardens without crowds. A lot of the same gardens are on some of these different tours. And, I'll get like a dozen to 2 dozen people in the course of a Thursday afternoon when my garden is open.
Right. And I will as well. It's a different vibe,
Yeah.
open gardens, but it's really wonderful. And particularly an opportunity to drive outside of the city and see some of the most amazing gardens in the whole region.
And one more question for both events, Garden Walk Buffalo and East Side Garden Walk. What if the weather, is there a weather policy, like, rain or shine? What if it's?
You got it, rain or shine.
All right, and just one comment, someone wanted to say you do an awesome job and we are excited to see beautiful spaces in Buffalo this summer.
Nice comment to make and greatly appreciated. I'm
And I
sure.
actually do have one more question. Thank you for this presentation and for starting the East Side Garden Walk. It is very important to highlight that event given Saturday's event. How else do you see using gardens for positive change in human relations?
Jim, you want to start or would you like me to?
I can start. I just know what I've seen on the west side over the last 28 years. And I lived on 16th Street, and it was not the best street in Buffalo by far. There's a little bit of drug action on the corner house and stuff like that. And neighbors did not spend any time outdoors. I barely knew my neighbors. I lived there 10 years and probably only knew a handful of neighbors on the street. People were very insular. Even though I lived there, half a block away was this little curved section of Summer Street where they were getting thousands, if not tens of thousands of people visiting for Garden Walk. And when I first put my 16th Street garden on, really only a handful of people, a dozen or so, would walk down my half block to see my garden. I was the only one on the block. By the time I left, I made the new owners promise to keep the garden on Garden Walk. And not only did they put the house on Garden Walk, they got a couple of their neighbors to do it. They started a block club. The house has started to, it's an old Italian neighborhood where I was. And there's a little old ladies who neither had the ability, the money, or the knowledge to be able to plant their own gardens. So the block club would all split their plants and they would do one garden a year and they would put that front yard garden on Garden Walk Buffalo. And over the course of years, home values improved. People started buying up properties there that were derelict. Within a few years, they had almost every single house on that block on Garden Walk Buffalo, and it became part of the cottage district. People loved the gardens on 16th Street. They took advantage of our beautification grants, and they're the ones that put up the signs with the Garden Walk posters. They put street side planters in with money that we gave them. People started doing their health strips, the area between the sidewalk and the street. And it's actually a beautiful, beautiful street now. I tell everyone that the neighborhood improved when I moved out.
So, and specifically about the East Side Garden Walk, it really is a way for us to go and show our neighbors, our friends, our family, and the rest of Buffalo that we really are the city of good neighbors. And that we want to bridge what we all know is Buffalo's racial divide. And the East Side Garden Walk is an opportunity. Going to that, supporting that is an opportunity to do that. Specifically for us is a way to bridge. Not that we can get it all done in a weekend, we all know that, but to begin to address the racial inequality and just talking to friends and neighbors and getting to know friends and neighbors in a different part of the city is just so important. And garden sharing is a way to do that. We can all talk about that together, and it doesn't matter where we're from, how long we've been in Buffalo, what color of our skin is.
I think it's also, these are such unique events, rather than, going in and seeing, being in a park for Juneteenth or visiting the Michigan Street corridor. This is actually an event where you get to go into someone's yard. You get to talk to the owners. You obviously have an interest in gardening, a common interest. And it's so good to get people into these neighborhoods. The Slow Roll does a great job of getting people to investigate the East Side and get to know the neighborhoods a little bit, but you don't stop to talk to the people. And I think that's the most important thing, is to be able to talk to our neighbors on the East Side.
And
Perfect.
the same person who asked that question just wanted to submit a comment that they wanted to thank the organization for the Lunenfeld grants. The Fruit Belt Community Land Trust received one for the vacant lot at 147 Lemon Street. Come see us in July. That is their message.
Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Very nice. Catherine, I wanted to build on that point. Over the last few days, we've heard a lot about our brand, the City of Good Neighbors. And every time I walk around in the garden walk and think all these people for free, no money involved, are spending the time of feeling secure enough to go ahead and let you in their side yards, their backyards, not talking just out in their front yards, and filled with pride of being part of Buffalo's garden walk, or the larger picture of that garden walk now. It's, to me, nothing short of the perfect way to connect that brand, if you will, of a City of Good Neighbors with a reality of being a City of Good Neighbors. It happens in many other forms, but this one is just an enjoyable, beautiful way to do it. Early on, the Center for the Study of Art, Architecture, History, and Nature could think of no better event to point to than the garden walk, where you truly see art, architecture, history, nature all come together. The beauty of that, that to me is why I feel so strongly about this. All right, so we're going to wrap up, but I'm going to lay something on the two of you as an invitation for consideration. In May and June, in the Imagine program, I begin to point to Buffalo Day. And Buffalo Day this year is most unique and most appropriate in this sense. It's Tuesday, July 5th. It is around the theme of nature, the week's theme at Chautauqua. And we've got speakers from Dean Bob Shibley, Stephanie Crockett from the Olmsted Conservancy, others speaking about Buffalo in a panel discussion. We'll have the video from WNED. David Broderman will be hosting a program in the cinema at Chautauqua. My point is, I've reserved a spot at the library the day before. Now it's the 4th of July. It's probably 3 to 4, but I would like to invite you, if you or representatives from Garden Walk could come. It will be to a national group. We always, when I have something there, fill up the room with 25, 35 people in it. Show your slideshow. We'll get some PR going down at Chautauqua, but I think it's a great way to at least introduce people as a Buffalo Day Eve event, if you will, pointing to the 5th on July 4th. So consider that. We can talk about it further, but I'm sort of alerting our audience, this may be a possibility. Buffalo Day, and to me, this is the emphasis I'm going to be making going forward, for the first time this year, is free for all Buffalo residents in Greater Buffalo. That includes the zip codes. Zip codes, a big deal now to consider, from 14201 to 14280 and everything in between. Certainly that includes 14209 and 14208, most importantly. So these bordering districts that separated by Main Street should be united, will be united in spirit, certainly on Buffalo Day. And that will be an emphasis that I will make going forward. And you will make just by doing your garden walk. So folks, this has been an extended program. Not often that you compete against the President of the United States in your own city. So we appreciate those who took the time to watch, and we hope you encourage friends, neighbors to see the program on the library's YouTube channel, and share the link. Share the link and the excitement around this garden walk. It's a big deal, and you see it's now far more than just the last weekend in July. All right, so thanks for joining us. We hope to see you back here again next Tuesday on Zoom, and we're joined by Adam Rome from the University at Buffalo. He'll be a panelist on Buffalo Day, and he'll be giving us a little preview of his presentation as he discussing Olmsted's design and Buffalo's future. I'm Dennis Galucki. Be well and good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.